Alright everyone, so this is going to be an introduction to Clara IO. If you have not done so already, please go ahead and sign up. Make an account, make sure that you remember your username, your email. Feel free to use your school email if you want to. But I've already got an account, so I'm just going to go ahead and log in. And this is what your screen is going to look like when you first get here. Alright, so down here, once you start working, you are going to start to see like your old assignments be down here whenever you save them. Up here we have a few tutorials or like a few references. They have like different videos that you can follow to like do basic stuff. You all are actually going to be doing some of these videos as the weeks go on. Like I said earlier, this is just going to be a slight introduction to it so that you're not super confused to begin with. So what I'm actually going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and create a new scene. Now when I click on that, you'll see that it takes you to this window where they've already got pre-made examples for you. So they've got like an Apple Watch here, they've got like a Mario sculpture, they've got like a ton of other stuff. So for our purposes, what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to click on create empty scene. All right, now here I'm just going to go ahead and name this class example. And like I said earlier, this is just an introduction. Y'all actually do not have to do what I'm going to do, at least not right now. After I do this introduction, I am going to post up videos for different things that I do want you to do, but for right now, I just want y'all to follow along. All right, our target render, I'm going to leave that on WebGL. We do not use V-Ray on here. You are going to have like attachments in order to be able to use the V-Ray. We do have the capability here at school on the computers that you have here, but I'm just going to leave it on WebGL. And now here, this program you can upgrade and you can like pay to have it so that you can actually work collaboratively with other people. But again, for our purposes, for the simplicity behind it, I'm just going to leave mine on public and I'm going to go ahead and press create. Now, when I press create, you'll see this crazy window. All right. Now, whenever I first started working with 3D modeling programs, honestly, this was probably one of the most intimidating things for me, was just seeing everything all happen at once. See like all the windows and all of the options that were there. I had always worked in like Photoshop and Illustrator, but when I got to here, it just seemed like a completely different animal. So let's go ahead and just break this thing down a little bit so that you are not super confused. All right, so up here we got our file menu, where you can come in here and, you can like import files. I'm pretty sure you can actually import like 3ds and Maya files in here. You've got your edits, so you can actually go in here and group stuff once you have them picked. You have different views that you can select from. You have different things that you can create here. So we are going to be working with cameras in here. We are also going to be working with some lights. These are going to be a little bit different though, I will admit that. They are a tad different from 3ds Max. I'm going to try to make some videos that are going to connect 3ds Max and Clara.io a little bit further on. However, at the very beginning, for all our purposes, they are going to be the exact same, and you'll see what I'm talking about in just a bit. Over here we have different modeling things as well. We have Boolean Operations, which we will you all are actually going to be using these. You have like a bunch of other stuff down in here as well, different like UVs. So these are going to be like materials and pictures that you bring in into like different parts of your models in here. We got our animation window as well, which we are going to try to do some animation here. I am not going to lie to you all, at this point in time right now, we are not going to touch animation. The first part of this class is definitely going to be on modeling, and then as we progress, you will definitely start to do animations, but for right now I just want to stick to modeling. And then obviously we do have our renderer as well, which we'll get to that towards the end, but for right now I just want you to know that these options are here. Now on the left hand side, you will see that we have a general tab. We've also got a model tab in here, we have a layout tab, and then we have a render tab. So right now, I just want y'all to stick with general. We will be switching into model every once in a while here and there, but I'm just going to stick with general because this is actually going to be where you'll start to see your objects pop up. from your viewports. All right, so now here, these individual windows are called your viewports. Right now we have 4 different views, and again, they look a little confusing. As you can see here, I have a perspective window. I have 2 perspective windows actually. So if you look at the top left-hand corner of each of these windows, it'll tell you what you're looking at. So I have a perspective view, which we will be talking about that a little bit more, a little bit later on, like what it means exactly. But just know that perspective is probably going to be one of your best friends with this program. Now, you do not use perspective by itself. What I actually do is I always make sure that I've got these orthographic views. So these are orthographic views. So we got our front view, we have our top view, and we have our left-hand sided view. This right here is not going to mean anything right this sec because we don't have anything in here. And we're going to fix that in just one sec. But for right now, just know these are called viewports. You can increase the size of one. So let's say I want to focus in on the left-hand side. I can click on one of these arrows and I can expand that out. But if I want to minimize it again, I just click on it one more time. I can also expand it going up and down and then just click back on that button left and right, so that can take the top view there. I really actually like this compared to 3ds Max. 3ds Max is a little bit different. Also, you can change the view that is in the viewport. So for instance, let's say you're just somebody that likes having your perspective view in the top left-hand window. That's okay. So I'm going to click on left, and I'm just going to change that to perspective, and you'll see that this very quickly changes to perspective, and then I can actually change this one back to left-hand sided view. All right, and then just zoom out. Now, I don't know if you've already got one, but I highly, highly, highly recommend having a mouse. It's going to make your job so much easier when it comes to 3D modeling, when it comes to the animation pieces. It's going to be very integral that each of you has a mouse. Now, like I said earlier, you do not necessarily have to have it. It's just going to make everything so much easier for you. All right, and a lot of the things that I'm about to show you, you are going to need a mouse in order to do it. So for instance, one of the first things I'm going to do, and I'm going to give you all something to look at on your screen. So what I'm actually going to do is, if you look right on top of your viewports, these are actually things that you can create within here. All right, and honestly, y'all, I'm still like learning a little bit about this program too, so I'm still trying to figure out where some stuff are, because this definitely is a simplified version compared to 3ds Max or Maya. There are just so many more options that you can do in there. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to create a block, all right, or a box. So I'm just going to click on box, and you'll see that very quickly this box appears in here. And right now it's actually a pretty tiny box. It's not really that big. So what I'm actually going to do is, on the right hand side, I'm going to increase the size of this. So if you look here, it automatically comes in as a poly mesh. And what that means is that it is an editable poly mesh on the outside of the shape. So it pretty much just means that you can edit the shape from the outside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the depth, I'm going to change that to 3, and the width is 3 as well, and the height is 3 as well. And like I said, this is just to kind of give you something to look at on your screen. I'm just going to kind of zoom in, and to zoom in, I just use the mouse wheel. I just zoom in and out using the mouse wheel. I will also rotate, and you actually rotate by clicking on the mouse wheel and just rotating or moving your mouse back and forth. And that allows you to rotate around the object that you have selected. And then the last thing is going to be pan. The last thing is pan, and you have to click Control and then click on your wheel at the same time, and then just move. And well, that is not panning. That's actually just moving the shape. And this is panning. So right here just allows you to kind of move back and forth into the different views. You cannot do that in any, or actually no, you can. You just cannot rotate. So you cannot rotate around in these other views, the left, front, or the top side view. You can only do that in the perspective view. All right, so if I click and hold on my mouse in the perspective view, it rotates it. But if I try to do that in any other one, it just pans it around. All right, now, the next thing that I want to show you all is going to be this here. So if you look on the top left-hand corner, I've already showed you how to like change the view in the viewport. But if you click to the right of it, right here in my left-hand sided view, I have the word wireframe. So if you look at my object here compared to my perspective view, here just shows an outline of my object compared to here. So this is just that outline. And then once I start incorporating different. So let me actually click on the object. Once I start incorporating segments into here, so let's say that I've got a 3 by 3 by 3 segment, and that just means that you have these individual lines that you can actually just start to edit once you get into there. So I'm going to click on realistic, and I'm just going to click on show edges because I want you to be able to see the edges here. All right, and right now I'm just going to click on my object, and as you can see, it has these axes that pop out. All right, so I've got the X, Y, and Z axis. I'm just going to kind of move it up so that it's sitting on top so that you can kind of see those lines a little bit better. All right, so that's all that is. That's what those segments do, is that they allow you to edit different parts of this shape. All right, now on the right hand side, this is going to be the last thing that I'm going to show you all for this introduction piece. On the right hand side, you'll see these individual tabs. So you've got a properties tab, you have a materials tab, a history tab, a help tab. The properties tab is going to specifically talk about the shape that you are selecting, all right now. And if you look on my left hand side, I've got the box here, all right, and I can actually double click on that and I can rename this. So if I want to name this like cube, I can just rename it cube. So if you click on the little eyeball, you can make it disappear and make it pop back up. On the right hand side though, what I can actually do is I can click on this object, all right, and I'm just going to minimize the poly mesh. I'm actually going to go down to let's go down to material. All right, so in material, I'm just going to expand this materials out, and if you look actually real quick, the transform, you can actually transform this around as well. So if you want to make it bigger, smaller, shear it just kind of means to like to move it, I guess, like within the shape itself. So like, you know, one side is like over here and the other side is on the other side down here. It's kind of hard to explain, but I'll show you all in the future what that looks like. So that's the transform tab right there. So I'm going to minimize that. The properties tab, this just kind of talks about the shadowing, you know, what parts of this can be seen, all of that. And then down here, the material, I'm going to click on default color. I'm just going to click inside of this cube, and I'm actually just going to change the color here. And this actually allows you to change the color of your object, you know, just depending on what you want to make it. But that's just a very easy way to change the color of this object here. All right, now, I actually want to show you all one more thing. So as I said earlier, these axes that you have right here, they allow you to move it up and down. But this is just using your move tool. All right, which is going to be right here. Underneath general, you'll have your selection tool or your select tool. You have your move tool, which is what I currently have selected. You have a rotate tool. So if you click on rotate, you'll see that you can actually rotate this box around just by clicking on the different axes that you have here. It does not change the actual shape itself. It just rotates it around the different axes. And then the last thing is going to be your scale tool, which you can scale it using, like, you know, these individual axes, so you can make it wider. So as you can see there, I just made it really long. I'm going to press Control Z. So Control Z is going to be one of your best friends here, and just undoes whatever you just did. But like I said, you can like maneuver it around the different axes like that, or if you click on the circle in the middle and then you click and drag it, you can actually this is like a uniform scale. So this allows you to maneuver it or to rotate it uniformly. All right, and this is just going to be a very nice way to kind of get into that. All right, now into future assignments or into future videos, I will be going over what each of these individually look like, these tools up here. So these are actually just going to be shapes. What we consider in the 3D world, we call these primitives. These are like some of the more simple shapes that you can make, and then you just start editing these shapes to get into different things that you want to make. All right, at the beginning of this class, you all are going to stick with simple stuff. So we're going to make things like chairs, tables. You all are going to make a wall or like a walled room. And then ultimately by the end of this semester, by the end of this quarter actually, you all are going to create a room that has a bunch of different stuff in it. You're going to be able to edit it and put in lights, put in wall decor, put in, you know, different things that you can make. And I really want you all to put in your own style, your own looks into the things that you make. And I'm really looking forward to this. All right, like I said earlier too, I want to try to connect this back to 3ds Max as much as possible, and I will do that in a series of videos. But for right now, I really want you all to focus in on Clara.io. It is going to be a nice online tool. You don't have to download anything. You don't have to do anything to your computer. Just have internet and you're good to go. All right. Like I said earlier, we will be talking a little bit more about this program, but for right now, that's what I've got. All right. Have a great day, y'all.